going on, guys? Derek here from Dose of VT, bringing you guys another video. As you can see by the title, this is how to overclock your PC. So to give you a little background about my PC, if you haven't seen any videos about the PC that I have a 2080 Super graphics card by MSI, and the CPU that I'm using is an i7 9700K. So with that being said, take everything I say with a grain of salt. You should fully do as much research as possible before you do anything like this, because you really can mess up your GPU and your CPU to where it is not usable anymore, and you kind of wasted however amount of money that you spent trying to build this PC by trying to overclock it. Now, depending on what you buy, like me buying a 2080 Super, there really isn't no need to overclock, but I wanted to use everything that my GPU had to offer. So this is why I'm making this video, to help you guys understand how simple it is, but still do your research, even though I'm showing you exactly what to do, what to download, and how to go about using it to the best of your advantage. Because once you break your CPU or GPU, there might not be any turning back. Like, it might be fried, and now you're out 300, 400, 500, 600, 700 bucks, $1,000 if you bought the top of the line. So with that being said, we will get started. So as you guys can see in the middle of the screen, I have two things from MSI. So from what the research I've done, MSI has the best when it comes to overclocking your CPU and your GPU. Now, there are other stuff out there. The video that I watched on YouTube did a long, I guess, 20-minute video on how to overclock. Mine won't nearly be as that long, because I want to show you guys exactly what you need to do to get there. But with that being said, there are other things out there other than MSI. I've just seen that MSI is the best. You don't have to have an MSI graphics card to do any of this. Now, when it comes to AMD and their graphics cards, I don't know if the same process will work. Someone in the comments can let me know. I just know it just works for basically NVIDIA and stuff like that. So with that being said, these are the two that you need to download right here. So I'm going to move this web page over here. So I have both of them on here. So we'll start. So Afterburner. Afterburner is what you're going to download, which will go, zoom out a little bit for you guys. So you're going to want to type in MSI Afterburner, and we'll take you to this website right here. See, it says MSI. You don't have to have an MSI graphics card to do this, I promise. It just happens I have an MSI, and this works perfectly with mine. But like I said, you don't have to have an MSI graphics card. But so then you're going to go down here, you're going to download it, do the run, install everything, and from there you're going to leave it at that. Then you're going to want to move to this. This is the MSI basically graphics card stress test or whatever, to let you know if your graphics card is going to fail once it hits like a certain frame rate, or if the PC is able to perform what you're trying to make it do. So you're going to go through the same process of Afterburner, of downloading this. Same thing, save it all to your desktop, whatever you got to do. It's really simple. It's like downloading anything else on the internet. These will be the same thing. So agree to basically everything and you'll be okay. So once those two are downloaded, obviously they're going to create icons on your home screen. So once you have those, you can open up Afterburner. You're just going to say yes. Let's see here, right there in the middle of the screen. So as of right now, obviously mine's overclocked. As you can tell by the numbers, I'm going to zoom in here, and See if it focuses in for us. So it's kind of hard to see, but so the power limit is at 100. The temperature is at 84. For whatever reason, every time I try to put it at 88 or whatever the highest it goes, it always knocks it back down to 84, which I don't understand. It's just like the max that it cannot exceed, or the PC will shut down and turn off. Then the next thing is the core clock, then your memory clock, then your fan speed. So when you open this up for the first time, you will not see numbers like this. Most of it, your power limit might not be at 100, your temp may be something different, your core clock might be at 0, your memory might be at 0, fan speed will probably be around like 50 to 60, so those you'll have to adjust. But before we do that, I'm just going to minimize that. Then I'm going to open up the stress test. So based off of everything in here, let me move this down a little bit. You have a bunch of different things, so you can go to your resolution, select the resolution that you have. If you don't see it in here, I believe you can just type it in right in here and it'll bring it up, but there's usually not too many weird limitations to monitors. As you guys can see, if it focuses in here at all, it shows the graphics card that I have, the resolution that we're doing it at. If you saw my previous video of my PC setup, this is an MSI 240Hz monitor at 1080p, so nothing fancy. Then you're gonna click the benchmark and it's gonna open it up in like a full screen. I'll zoom out here real quick so you guys can see that. It's going to open it up in full screen. You don't have to have it in full screen by any means. I just hit escape to get rid of that. But you always can minimize it and stuff like that, which is what I do. So as of right now, you guys can see that it's running the stress test. Okay, obviously it's going to differ when you don't have a full screen, but as of right now you're making changes. So if you guys can see this, I'll zoom in again. Hopefully you guys are able to see this. Okay, so up here you have different settings that you can pick from. I'll move this more to the middle of the screen for you guys. Over here it just shows you a bunch of different things. It shows you temperature, stuff like that. At the very bottom, let me minimize this, make it a little bit smaller. At the bottom it shows you your GPU temp, the time it's been running, the frames that you're getting. Lower it down a little bit right there. It shows you your frames that you're getting, your GPU load, all that information. So when you are doing something like this, obviously you're going to have better numbers with this being so small compared to it being the whole length of the screen and stuff like that. But for these purposes, it's fine. Let's see here. We'll minimize this real quick. Then we'll open up Afterburner again. So what I usually do is just put Afterburner off to the side. Then I open this back up. So this will be somewhat kind of hard to see. I'll try to zoom in a little bit for you guys so you have a better chance of somewhat seeing. So as you guys can see, per se, all you have to do is start adjusting these toggles. So what I was told is that when you do your numbers, so when you're doing these numbers right here, you want to go up with the core clock, I would say safely, depending on the graphics cards you had. So if your graphics cards within like the past 3 years, you could probably do closer to 30 plus every time until you get to a reasonable speed to understand exactly what your graphics card can do. Then when it comes to memory, you can go a lot bigger. You can do like 50 or anything like that, okay? But all you have to do is just type in here. You click on it, type there, then hit enter. So I typed in 65, I hit enter. Now it is not saved until you go down and hit this check mark right here, where it just popped up this little area. So now it's completely saved. I'll shift this over just a little bit. Then once you find out what your PC can do comfortably, to where this isn't glitching out over here, it's not doing anything weird, you're not dropping serious frames within time, you need to run this once you find a good point to where your PC will not turn off. Like when I was doing this, my PC turned off probably like 3 times before I figured out, okay, I definitely need to adjust my settings a little bit to get it to where it'll run stable. On some PCs, once you hit a certain point, it'll just turn off. But I have a top-of-the-line graphics card, so it can do this type of stuff super, super easy. But when it goes to in-game, and that's when I started having my issues. So I was playing Call of Duty, the newest one, Modern Warfare. I didn't have issues until I got in the game and I started playing for about 5 minutes. Then my PC would crash the game because it couldn't handle the load that I was trying to make my graphics card do. So it would just crash the game and I couldn't play until I adjusted the settings, and it took me a little bit to adjust. So you're going to keep messing around with these until you find a comfortable point. I promise you, when your screen goes black, you're going to have a heart attack because you think you broke your motherboard or your GPU or your CPU or something, but technically you haven't. You will just need to turn off your computer. Just hit the power button on your PC. Don't physically unplug it from like the wall or anything like that. Just turn it off. It'll reset itself because it knows not to go back to those settings. Your PC should be smart enough to know, oh hey, I was overclocked too much and I can't produce this. It should fix itself within a matter of a couple seconds, depending on the type of PC you have, to where you're not going to have any issues. Then it'll just refix itself and it won't turn off or do some crazy stuff. But for me and what I was doing, I was going up pretty high pretty quickly, and this simulation right here was running smoothly, perfectly, no issues. But my PC would have to be completely resetted before I could restart any of this once I got up pretty high. Like I was for like core clock, I was going all the way up to like 100, 200, and it would run perfectly fine until I got to playing a game, then it would crash. Then like the memory, I got all the way up to like, I don't know, 600, and like the whole thing would run perfectly fine. I think I was pushing, I don't know if you guys can see over here, but where it says frames, I was pushing like 90 something. Right now, I'm only pushing 85. But if I go over more, my temperatures are pretty good. Right there it says 68 Celsius, 154 Fahrenheit. And it's been running for 5 minutes. But I recommend you run this program full screen once you've kind of figured out where your settings need to be, and let it run for like 30 minutes. Now, from what I've learned from some of my buddies that had PCs also, it's not very good to do your GPU and your CPU within like the first month of owning the PC. Like you want to break it in, you want to make sure you use it a lot to where it gets comfortable at running at temperatures, it gets comfortable with what you're trying to do day to day, and the games you're trying to run. I had my PC for probably 6 months before I did this, but I didn't play my PC every day, and I didn't play it for 6 hours at a time. I probably played a couple times a week for a total of probably less than 15 hours, if that. So I kind of took the chance and overclocked it, and my buddy wasn't too happy. He goes, Eric, I don't know if your PC will do well and handle okay. I was like, okay, I totally understand. But it is all up to you and what you do, but take everything I just said with a grain of salt with how you do this, because it's really important that you take your time with this and you go slow. You don't try to rush it to get it done and over with, because you literally can waste a crap ton of money and you're not going to get that money back. There's not a lot of people out there that buy broken graphics cards. Like, obviously there's a market out there, but you're going to get a fraction of what you paid for. Probably not even a fraction, probably like 1/16 of what you paid, because obviously it's broken. But The last and final thing I'll say is once you figure out all your settings right here, so where my mouse is, once you figure all this where you want to run it at, your fan speed is 100% up to you. Right now mine's at 80, and you probably can hear my PC. I won't say anything for a couple seconds. If you can hear that, it's not very loud. Before, I think I had it was at 65 when I opened this up the very first time, so it wasn't very loud. So once you get comfortable with all this, you're allowed to have your power limit all the way up to 100. You're allowed to have your temp all the way up to 88. You'll be fine. These are iffy, your core and your memory. Then your fan speed's up to you. You can put that puppy at 100, but it's gonna be loud as crap. But once you figure all that out and you hit the little check mark right here to save everything, then you have these little profiles right here where my mouse is. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can create 5 different profiles for what you're doing. So once you figure out all this, you want to click that, save it all again, make sure it gets saved. Then now it tells you profile is saved. Then the key important thing when you do this is that you click this startup. As of right now, it's red outline. That means when my PC turns on every time, it's going to run this program no matter what. So when you set it up and you download everything, make sure this runs in the background at all times. It's not going to hurt your PC. It's not going to do anything bad to make it run slow or anything like that. Unless you have a bunch of junk on your PC, then it might affect it a little bit, but not by much. But you're going to hit that, and it's going to turn this program on every time your PC turns on. Without a doubt, no issues, no nothing. But that is the simplest and shortest way I know how to overclock. Now, there's probably people out there that'll be like, hey, Eric, that's not exactly how you do it. You should have done this, done that. Okay, cool. You have a different way. The way that I've done it works. So, it's up to you and how you want to do it. I will show you guys my numbers one more time. So now we're hitting 70, 71 at almost 10 minutes at 83 frame rate. Then my GPU load is at 99, which is right here, and it's running pretty smoothly. Granted, obviously I'm showing a picture of a screen, so all these lines right here, they're in the screen, they're not on mine. Obviously I'm filming this off the screen, so it's picking up all the frame rate stuff. But anyways, there you go, guys. Take everything I said with a grain of salt, because this is what works for me. It might not work for you. Put any questions you have in the comments. I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability, or someone else can help you. But thanks for watching, guys. Peace.